Let's go back in time with this Retro Khorne Berserker.
Welcome back to the circus.
Hey, what is up? Wayne here, and welcome back to Dark Circus Miniatures. In this video, I'll be painting this plastic Khorne Berzerker model from 1996. After having a look at some history of this model on www.chaosbunker.de, I prepared the miniature for painting by priming it an initial coat of Chaos Black, then a coat of Corax White. My first coat of paint is an overall coverage of Khorne Red, and since this will be done over white, 2 coats of this color will be required for a solid finish. Once covered, I then started working on the Berzerker's goldish brass trim. For this, I used Retributor's armor. I tried to be as careful as I could, but wasn't too fussed if I got any gold on the red, as I could just simply touch this up with some more Khorne Red once the gold had dried. Next up, I got some Abaddon Black and went over all the weapons and equipment details on the model. After adding black to the miniature, I then shaded the entire model with Agrax Earthshade, making sure I didn't have too much of the wash pull up on any flat panels of armor. Now, it's decal time. With a small collection of Chaos faction icons on a transfer sheet, I cut out the World Eaters and Khorne icons, then placed them on some water in my wet palette. As the transfers soaked, I prepared the surfaces of the Berzerker's pauldrons with some gloss varnish technical art coat. When the gloss varnish had dried, I then slid the transfers off their paper backs and aligned them to the pauldrons. After painstakingly aligning the transfers, to soften and flatten the decals, I used some Microsol Blue on both the icons and then Microsol Red to set them down. Once both pauldrons were dry, I sealed them both with some matte varnish, technical Storm Shield. Now, let's brighten up the armor. To do this, we'll be using Khorne Red again and Evil Sun Scarlet. I firstly reapply Khorne Red to the armor, but only focus on the middle sections while avoiding any edges and recesses. I then do the same with Evil Sun Scarlet, and I have to say, it makes a world of difference. Now, for some more metallics. I broke out some lead belcher to color in the silver parts of the model. This included mechanical areas of the bolt pistol, the handguard and teeth of the chainsword, and some details on the helmet and power pack. I then touched up the goldish brass with some Canoptic alloy, only applying it scarcely to break up the tone of the trim and to also provide somewhat of a highlight. For some reason, I then decided to paint the base, and to honor this model with its old hammer glory, I got out Goblin Green and painted the entire base. Now, back to the trim. I get some Gehenna's Gold out to touch up the areas that I painted Canoptic alloy. Not only does this bring the silver highlights back to gold, but it also gives a yellow flare to the trim overall. After some touch-ups, it was time to dull down the silver on all the details and weapons. This was done with Nuln Oil. Then, back to green. When the Goblin Green was fully dried, I shaded the top of the base with Biltan Green. Then based the eye lenses with Flesh, Warpstone Glow, and then Moot Green. I then used some White Scar to fix up the Khorne decal by painting over some of the red that had accidentally gone on it. As the white dried, I decided to give the base a touch up with a quick dry brush of some Flash Gits Yellow, then cleaned up the base again with some Goblin Green. To add some final highlights to the model, I used Ironbreaker to touch up the dulled silver on the weapon details and the backpack. I also used some Dawnstone to highlight the black casings of the weapons and the pipe details on the power pack and torso. And there you have it, a bare retro model of a bygone era painted up in all its retro glory. If you want to read up on the history of this model, and many more, I have a link in the description below that you can check out. And if you enjoyed this video, please click like and share this with your friends. And for alerts on future videos, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. You can always follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and to further support the channel, you can become a Dark Circus Miniatures patron. For just a few dollars a month, you can keep these videos coming. For all these fun things, I have links in the video description below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Dark Circus